Hello everyone and welcome. My name's Tara Noel and I'm with Perfect Weddings 101. I am constantly searching for new wedding trends and keeping up on what's going on within the wedding industry. I came across some very interesting stats based on weddings in Canada. Did you know that in 2015 there was over 160,000 weddings? The average age of the bride was 30 years old and 67% of those weddings occurred between June and September. The average cost of a wedding in 2015 was over $30,000. Let's let that sink in for a moment and take a deep breath. This brings me to the purpose of my vlog. I'm going to share with you my thoughts on 5 key ways to save money without having to compromise your dream wedding. So let's begin. Number 1, invitations. There are a number of options available when considering your invitations. The cost can range anywhere from $250 to upwards of well over $1,000. But there are several other options. A great way to save money is to consider digital invitations. In my previous blog, Wedding Vendors Who, When, What, Why, and Where, I had mentioned the Knot as a wedding app to keep yourself organized. You can also utilize this to create yourself a wedding website and distribute invitations via email. There is absolutely no cost associated, and it is also environmentally friendly. Your guests can RSVP via email, and it allows the ability to have all of your wedding details in one place. We all spend plenty of time on our phones, and I'm sure you can agree it's been a long while since you've actually looked at a piece of letter mail. My second point, food and alcohol. This is one area of the wedding that you can pretty much count on being the most expensive. You can figure at a cost of approximately $35 to $125 a guest. Now, depending on the size of your guest list will determine how much you will be spending. A few tips to consider saving costs are shorten the guest list. It's understood the list is being pulled from 2 families, and depending on the size of each family could determine the number of guests. One thing I can suggest is if there's a family member that hasn't even met your significant other, do they really need to be there the day of the wedding? Probably not. Possibly consider a later evening wedding. Have the ceremony take place at 7 p.m. and have cocktails and hors d'oeuvres to follow afterwards. This should minimize your cost closer to $15 to $20 a guest. You could also consider cutting costs by not having an open bar. Toonie bars are becoming more and more popular. Your guests can drink at a minimal cost and it will assist major in your overall budget. Wedding favors. In my personal opinion, wedding favors should become a thing of the past. An average of $250 to $500 can be spent on these favors, and in my experience, 85% of your guests aren't even going to remember to take them home. And let's be honest, who really needs a personalized beer cozy with your names and wedding date on it? Centerpieces. In 10 years, I have seen a wide variety of centerpieces. Are they necessary? Well, they do add to the overall decor, but sometimes they tend to be more of a nuisance. Consider the size and necessity of these when making this decision. You do not want them to be 4 feet tall and blocking the view of the people sitting across from one another, and you do not want a ridiculous number of candles that are going to set off fire alarms. Consider smaller and inexpensive, simple centerpieces. Sometimes it may be best to look at the cost of renting these because let's be honest, do you really need 15 to 20 sets of the same decor after the wedding? And my 5th and final point is choosing your wedding date. As I mentioned, prime wedding time is between June and September. And guess what? I'm not the only one that knows this. All venues know this, that this is prime time and will be charging accordingly. Consider an off-season wedding. Or if you have your heart set on a date that falls within prime wedding season, doing a Friday evening or a Sunday wedding, the cost can be almost slashed by up to 35%. Not only will the venue alter their fees, I assure you most of your wedding vendors will provide some sort of a discount as well. Well, there you have it, 5 tips for a budget-savvy wedding. If you have any other tips for brides, leave them in the comment section below. Thanks for watching and check out my blog for more helpful tips. Wishing you a perfect day.